The diplomatic outpost on Letheria 7 was meant to be a peaceful frontier between species, a neutral space where misunderstandings could be smoothed over before they ignited into conflict. Yet Lieutenant Daniel Cross felt anything but peaceful as he stepped into the great crystalline hall of the Letherian matriarchate. The towering structures shimmered like frozen waterfalls, bending starlight into dancing colors across the floor. Letherians, tall and elegant, moved with a grace that made humans look clumsy by comparison. Daniel adjusted his uniform, feeling aware of every step. Today, he had been invited to a selection ceremony, though he didn't yet understand why. At first, he assumed it was a political formality, another gesture to solidify cooperation between their species. But as he walked deeper into the hall, guided by the soft chime of crystalline bells, he sensed something more personal. The Letherians were famous for their calm expressions, yet he could feel their curious gazes lingering on him. He caught fragments of whispers in their melodic language, carrying a tone he recognized from human crowds before something unexpected happened. Daniel steadied himself, hoping this wouldn't turn into a diplomatic disaster. Finally, he reached the central chamber, where the Letherian High Matron awaited. She stood upon a raised platform of white crystal, her gown flowing like starlight. Beside her stood Lady Serelith, a warrior diplomat Daniel had met twice before. Tall, silver-haired, and composed, she carried the reputation of being one of the fiercest fighters in the matriarchate. Yet whenever she looked at him, something warm flickered behind her eyes, something he couldn't decipher. Today, that warmth seemed brighter. The High Matron raised her hand, and the hall fell silent. "Lieutenant Daniel Cross, representative of Earth," she announced, "you have been summoned for a rite seldom offered to off-worlders." Daniel blinked. A rite? He glanced at Serelith, who gave him a small, reassuring nod. The matron gestured to a semicircle of Letherian women. They were dressed in ceremonial attire, each radiating pride. Then the matron spoke a sentence that made Daniel's heart nearly stop. "You may choose any woman here to accompany you as your bonded companion." Daniel's mouth went dry. This wasn't diplomacy, this was something deeper. He could practically hear humanity's political councils fainting across the galaxy. He cleared his throat. "I'm honored," he said, "but I don't understand the purpose." The matron answered calmly. "You have shown bravery, restraint, and empathy during your service on our borders. These traits are cherished. The women volunteer freely, wishing to accompany a warrior of such character." Every eye turned to him. Daniel felt heat rising to his face. His gaze drifted over the semicircle, each woman dignified. Yet none stirred his heart. He inhaled. "Before I choose, does my choice need to come from this group alone?" The matron lifted an eyebrow. "Traditionally, yes. But if your heart leads elsewhere, we honor honesty." The hall tensed. Daniel's gaze drifted toward Serelith. She looked startled before regaining composure. His chest tightened. He knew who he wanted. He stepped forward. "Then my answer is simple," he said. "I choose her." Gasps rippled through the hall. Serelith's hand came to her chest. The matron looked genuinely surprised. "You choose Serelith?" Daniel nodded. A long silence followed. Finally, Serelith descended from the platform, her steps deliberate. She stopped a breath away. "Human, you surprise me," she whispered. "There were many before you. Why choose me?" Daniel held her gaze. Because when I look at you, I see someone who stands for what she believes in. Someone who doesn't hide her strength or her heart. And someone who never looked at me like an outsider. The hall waited. Saralith lowered her head slightly, a gesture of respect. You speak boldly. Daniel smiled. I'm learning as I go. Saralith reached out, placing her hand lightly over his. Her touch was cool. Then learn this, she murmured. Your choice honors me. The High Matron stepped forward. If Saralith accepts, the rite concludes. Saralith turned toward the matron, pride in her expression. I accept. Another wave of gasps followed. Then let it be written, the human is chosen, and the choice is returned. Daniel exhaled. Saralith stood beside him now, no longer distant. After the ceremony, Saralith guided him to a quiet balcony, overlooking the shimmering horizon. You changed the outcome, she said. Many expected you to choose from the volunteers. Daniel leaned on the railing. Choosing someone you don't truly want seems wrong. Saralith studied him with rare softness. And you truly wanted me? Daniel nodded. For the first time, she laughed softly. Then perhaps this bond will be stronger than expected. In the following days, Daniel felt the shift in how the Letharian people regarded him. What had once been distant curiosity became open respect and, at times, gentle amusement. He couldn't walk through the outpost without someone offering a graceful nod or a melodic greeting. It was overwhelming, but Saralith helped him navigate it all with calm assurance. She explained their customs, their subtle gestures, and the deeper meaning behind the bond they now shared. Daniel listened carefully, appreciating how her once impenetrable demeanor softened whenever they spoke. Their connection grew naturally, shaped by honesty rather than obligation. One evening, as they trained together in the sparring hall, Saralith paused mid-strike, studying him with thoughtful eyes. You adapt quickly, she said. Humans often rush, but you take your time. Daniel lowered his stance. Maybe because none of this feels like something to rush. She nodded, approving. It was then Daniel understood something important. The ceremony might have initiated their bond, but their choices afterward defined it. They were not bound by tradition alone. They were choosing each other daily, in small ways that mattered. And as the outpost lights dimmed into twilight, Daniel realized their partnership had already begun shaping him into someone stronger, someone steadier. In Saralith's presence, he found not just acceptance, but purpose, and that purpose carried him forward with quiet certainty. They walked on,